What is up, y'all? Welcome on back to another review. I recently saw the new Demon Slayer movie in theaters, Demon Slayer, the movie Infinity Castle, and I feel like I need to talk about this movie just a little bit, especially for the Demon Slayer fans out there, and whether or not you should go see this movie in theaters and what you should expect with an anime movie being released nowadays. Because if you go out to the theaters and you see any of these new anime movies, a lot of the time they are adapting arcs and then they just come out regularly as a season later on. So to me, it doesn't really feel like I'm getting new content. It feels like I'm just getting the same content regurgitated and they're just trying to make a buck off it, which by all means, I am not opposed to that. I just personally don't want to go waste my money at the theater and my time at the theater to see something that I could just watch week to week on Crunchyroll. And Demon Slayer, the movie Infinity Castle, is a little bit different because apparently, instead of adapting this into multiple seasons, they have decided to make a trilogy out of the last couple of arcs of the Demon Slayer series. So, for those uninitiated, they are here to adapt the Infinity Castle arc and the final battle arc for Demon Slayer, the manga, which is absolutely fucking amazing. It is my absolute favorite arc of this entire series. So I've been pretty excited to watch this in theaters and see what they're cooking up over there. So right off the bat, there's a couple of issues with the fact that they are doing a trilogy of movies rather than releasing this year to year as seasons. So the last two arcs of this series is going to take like 6 years for it to finally air its conclusion. So it's a little disappointing that we're having to wait so damn long. It reminds me of Attack on Titan and how they had to have the final season part like 8 before we finally got the ending to that series. And Demon Slayer seems to be taking up that mantle a little bit with the fact that they're releasing 3 movies to conclude the series. Now, I am curious if they're going to go back and adapt this for a season in and of itself, which kind of leads me into my review, which is going to be non-spoiler thoughts. I think this would probably work better as a season. And I'm here to tell you, I am a huge, huge Demon Slayer fan. I read the entire series. It is one of my all-time favorite animes, and especially mangas for sure. Highly recommend watching and reading it if you haven't. But I think a lot of the criticism out there, they all kind of base around a couple of things about this movie. And I think those are fair criticisms for why this movie probably didn't hit as well as I wanted it to. Like I said, my expectations for this were sky high because of how much I love the arc in the manga. I think these are some of the best action sequences that I've seen in an anime, definitely within the last several years, but I would put it up there with some of the best action sequences of all time. I think the fight choreography is absolutely phenomenal. There are just so many hype moments in this movie, but the biggest issue with the movie, and like I said, when you go and listen to someone or you're talking to someone about this movie that has already seen it, it seems that the main criticism is the pacing. And I think the pacing of this movie is the absolute worst part of the movie itself. So if you have been watching Demon Slayer throughout the years, then you are kind of aware of the fact that they do a lot of the same things season to season. They fight an upper rank, and before they kill the upper rank, we get some backstory, and then the final battle happens, we get some more backstory. So take that aspect, that element of the show, and multiply it times like 5 here, because we get so much backstory, which I am not opposed to some backstories of some of these upper rank. I think some of those backstories are really good, and it does make you, I say, care for those characters a little bit more. That's not what I mean, but it makes you see from their point of view, and it makes you enjoy those characters more with those backstories if you didn't have them at all. But this movie is broken up into basically 3 separate fights. So You get backstory, fight, backstory, fight, backstory. It is, I believe there's probably about two like slowdown moments per battle where it cuts back to some type of backstory. And I think one of the biggest issues with the movie is it's doing stuff in the movie that should have already been done in the series. And what I mean by that is to the Swordsmith Village arc, the Hashira training arc. Those are arcs that we should have gotten a little bit more backstory on some of the Hashira. And we didn't really get that in the Hashira training arc. And I have been on here and I have said that the Hashira training arc is my least favorite. The Swordsmith Village, which I did enjoy, but the Hashira training arc is probably my least favorite arc out of the entire series. And that season of anime was actually pretty good. I kind of enjoyed it. And I didn't have a ton of complaints about it. I thought they adapted it way better than what the manga was, and I didn't find myself bored by it. But that was the opportunity to tell some of these backstories with the Hashira. So why are we getting that in this movie? And that's one of my biggest problems with the movie is the pacing and the backstories. I'm all for the backstories of these upper ranked demons. I think that really adds another layer and gives the movie some depth and some emotion, especially with Akaza, who was one of the main villains in the first movie, Mugen Train, which, guys, still peak anime right there. I fucking love that movie. I would rather watch the Mugen Train movie over that season of Demon Slayer all day, any day. Like, give me the movie, and then I will continue the rest of the season. Because I think that movie is just perfectly paced. It is peak moment after peak moment. And it gives you just enough of that backstory and those moments of character development to make you fall in love with those characters. And that is what's vastly different about this, is just slows down to a crawl so many times. It's like just when the battle is getting good, hold up, let's stop and let's break down some of these characters a little bit. Let's give them a little moment or two. And it just kills the vibes. It kills the momentum for all of these fights in this movie, with the exclusion of Akaza. I think the back half of the movie, personally, is definitely my favorite. It feels like this movie is 3 hours long. It feels like it's 30 minutes longer than it should. I'm of the mindset that this movie should have probably been about 2 hours, maybe 2:15 at most. And I don't know. I don't know if it's the fact that it was in a theater or if it's a movie format versus the season format. It just felt different to me. It felt super slow. There was no music through a lot of it. Like, I'm not even lying when I tell you that we were sitting there and I could hear everything in my theater because these moments were so quiet. They're so slow that you can hear some dude from way down below messing with his popcorn bag or moving his straw up his drink. And it's not even that the movie wasn't loud or anything like that. It was just these moments were so slow. They were so quiet that you could literally hear a pin drop in the theater. So to me, I have a problem with the fact that the movie is just paced just horrendously with those quieter moments. And like I said, I don't mind them at all. I think Mugen Train handles it perfectly. This one does not. Personally, if you're going to make an anime movie and you're going to adapt this arc, I need some fucking hype music, okay? To me, that's just a missed opportunity with the movie. And to adapt an arc that is so awesome, you're not really helping the case at all. I would rather just go read the manga. And this is one of the first times I've never been the type of an anime or manga fan to say, "Oh yeah, I'm a manga elitist. I'd rather just go read the manga. It's so much better." I'm here to tell you the manga is way better, guys. That sucks. It sucks because I wanted this movie to be so damn good and so hype that I feel let down by it. But now that I've kind of shit on the pacing, shit on the score, and some of these quieter moments, I do want to mention that the action scenes so fucking good, okay? When they're firing on all cylinders, they are 100% firing on every single cylinder because the choreography, the voice acting go along with it is just chef's kiss. Some of the best action scenes in the entire series for sure, and we've gotten some pretty dope action set pieces, especially with like the entertainment district, which is probably one of my favorites. And then you have the Swordsmith Village arc, which had some really great set pieces in that. With all of that, I think this is some of the best for sure. I just wish we paced it a little bit better. And again, I know I kind of briefly went over it, but the voice acting, I went and saw it dubbed. All the voice acting was great from the top to the bottom. I didn't have any issues with the voice acting. So without jumping into too many spoilers, those are kind of my just overall thoughts. I think the pacing just makes this, I don't want to say unbearable to watch, but it makes it a chore. And I shouldn't feel like a Demon Slayer movie should be a chore at this point. I think the series is so damn good. The fact that I'm sitting there and falling asleep to this. Now, big disclaimer, I did work a 20-hour shift the night before, so that could have a little bit of a factor into me feeling bored by this movie. I would love to watch this again. So even with my complaints of this movie, I still feel like I would give it another shot. Now, would I recommend you go see this in theaters? Would I recommend you watch this ASAP? Yeah, sure. I think this is worth seeing in theaters if you are a fan of the series. There is still some great content here. I think if you manage those expectations a little bit with the fact that this movie does have its moments where it's super slow, but there's also some super peak moments as well, that if you go into the theater with those expectations managed a little bit, I think you might have a better time. But to sit here and say, oh, you should avoid this movie altogether, I think that'd be disingenuous at this point. I do think overall it is a good movie. I definitely think the positives outweigh the negatives here, and I really do hope that they adapt this into a seasoned format. I would be very curious to know how much better it would be. I feel like you can kind of tell with the way the movie is structured, like that's an episode right there. Like that was a full-on episode. Okay, this is an episode. It definitely has that structure to it. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if they adapted this into a season format. And I kind of hope that they do. I think it would be better for it. But guys, if you have seen Demon Slayer Infinity Castle, let me know down in the comments below. What are some of your positives? What are some of your negatives? Would you recommend this to Demon Slayer fans out there? By the way, if you are not a Demon Slayer fan, this is not the moment to go watch this movie, okay? If you have never seen Demon Slayer, this is not your jumping on point whatsoever. So I probably should have mentioned that at the very beginning of this episode, that I am speaking mainly to Demon Slayer fans here. The non-fans, the first-timers, go ahead and get a Crunchyroll subscription and start from the beginning, and then you can watch this movie. They are not holding your hand here with recapping previous events, which a lot of animes do that with their movies. They don't do that here. They don't recap anything. It is legitimately the end of last season is where this movie starts. It doesn't hold your hand whatsoever. But yeah, drop me a comment down below, guys. Also, while you're there, hit that like and subscribe button. That really helps us out. We're trying to regrow this channel. We had the 2-game channel, which you can find in the link below. And we're trying to get this up and going. So I would appreciate it if you like and subscribed. But with all that being said, I appreciate y'all joining me for this review. I'll catch y'all next time on another one. Laters.